Wow, new Nintendo hardware. This is a special occasion. It only happens 25 plus times in a lifetime. Yeah, this sort of happened, didn't it? The Nintendo Switch 2 launched on June 5th, 2025. And I did a lot around that time. I just kind of want to talk about my experiences with the launch of this system. I think I'm going to talk about my overall thoughts on it so far at a later time. So I just kind of want to talk about sort of the build-up to launch and how the launch went for me and all that kind of garbage, because there's more of fun little stories to tell here. Firstly, pre-ordering this thing stunk. You know what else stunk is the fact that I probably didn't have to pre-order it. See all these pictures on launch day of how plentiful the stock was. Of course, like, I don't think every store was like this. Like, you know, if you walked into a Target and they didn't have Switch 2s, go to the Best Buy nearby it. They might have had Switch 2s. But just the pre-order process for this thing was so goofy. So they initially announced pre-orders, and then they had to delay them because of real-life garbage. So they finally announced a revised pre-order date. Good deal. I was cool with that. Like, all these different places, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, they were all saying, like, yeah, pre-orders are going to open up at midnight. Now, I'm a little Best Buy goblin. I just don't really trust Walmart to pre-order video games from. Turned out they were pretty cool. Apparently, if you pre-ordered from Walmart and they would deliver it to your doorstep, they would include Pringles and Coke. I got no such thing for my Best Buy pre-order. I got waiting around until 2 a.m. to get a pre-order confirmation. It was just a little goofy because none of these websites that open up pre-orders could handle the sheer girth of the amount of time Nintendo fans have to dedicate to this kind of crap. I should know. I'm one of them. So Target wasn't working very well, Walmart wasn't working very well, and Best Buy didn't even open up pre-orders until 12:30 at night instead of 12. I just found it a little silly because Best Buy was like sending me notifications on the Best Buy like iPhone app all day, going, it's just like, just you wait till midnight when pre-orders open. Pre-orders didn't open at midnight. But yeah, I was able to secure a pre-order via Best Buy. I trust Best Buy with a lot of this kind of stuff. But prior to this, I remember seeing on social media it pop up that Amazon UK had pre-orders for the Switch 2 available. So I dicked around with that. That was kind of my fail-safe, like, all right, you know, like, the pre-orders are open, and your Amazon account in the US does work on Amazon UK, so I thought, I'll try pre-ordering a standard Switch model, because I did need to, because, you know, I wanted one for myself, and then for all the guys that work with me on Scott Stash, we have an office where they do most of their work from, and we have a little gameplay capture arena there, and a Switch 2 would fit awfully well there, wouldn't it? Amazon UK canceled my order, so that didn't go through, but I did get my Best Buy one, so that's all that matters. My Best Buy pre-order included the Mario Kart World bundle for the Nintendo Switch 2, a physical copy of Mario Kart World because I'm an idiot, Cyberpunk 2077, a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, and a Nintendo Switch 2 camera, because that was pretty much most of the things that I could imagine I would get at least some semblance of use out of. Probably outside of the physical Mario Kart World game, but again, you know, I'm an idiot. So, that was that. I would have been fine getting a Nintendo Switch 2 at launch. The Best Buy I pre-ordered from was going to do a midnight launch, so I could have just waltzed right up there, and I could have gotten my Nintendo Switch 2 at midnight. However, I had a very cool opportunity come through. I got an email that I thought was fake as hell, but it was from Nintendo, and Nintendo offered to send me pretty much the exact same thing I just spent hundreds of dollars on. Now this year I started to open myself up a little more to take opportunities like that and work more with companies, and I am still very selective on that. I don't necessarily want to take a bunch of like review codes or anything, or just openly accept literally anything that comes my way, but I thought this was a really cool like opportunity. You know, hey, you know, the way I talk about Nintendo, I'm sure they're gonna see the dumb crap I say, and they're probably gonna be like, all right, we're good working with this with this guy. But you know, I was just like, you know what, I think this would have been kind of a dumb opportunity not to take. So you know, I accepted. I was like, this is very, very cool, thank you very much. The thing is, they did say that, yeah, we're gonna send you the console on June 5th. So overall, I didn't really see a huge benefit to getting it other than like, oh, that's cool, I got a free Switch. So I just kind of thought about it, and I thought like, okay, well, what can we do with this Switch 2? We've been already talking to the local Extra Life charity here in Toledo. Work with Children's Miracle Network and, the children's hospitals nearby. And, I always thought it would be cool to do some more stuff locally. Throughout the years, I've done the merchandise for charity bonanzas and raised a lot of money, and I'm very, very happy that I did those and thankful for everybody that contributed to that. I've been taking it a little slower the past couple of years, so I thought, like, you know what, we're already talking to them about doing some stuff, and I'm getting a free Switch 2. This should be kind of cool. Let's donate this Switch 2 to one of the local children's hospitals. That'll be really cool for them to get a Switch 2, basically on launch day. But then I got another email from Nintendo, and they invited me to New York City for the launch of Nintendo Switch 2 at Nintendo NY. And they said I would have the chance to purchase my system there. I don't think these two people who emailed me talk to each other, because I've been to New York once, and I like New York. I think New York is a really fun spot to visit. Keyword, visit. I will never live there. It is a very awesome city to visit. I love checking it out. You're always going to see something new. You've never seen the entirety of New York. I never want to live there. New York is a very special kind of place where while walking down there, I will smell the rankest smell in the world, and then I take one step forward, and then it's gone. Weird situations and smells in New York are oddly territorial. But when I got the New York invite from Nintendo, I thought, once again, that is quite another cool opportunity. So I kind of thought, like, okay, this is the plan. We will go to New York, and then get on a flight at 6 in the morning on June 5th, and then get to the Detroit airport around like 7:30 a.m. and then book it back home, which is about an hour. Get home in time to hopefully sign for the Nintendo Switch 2 gift package that Nintendo was sending, because somebody had to be there to sign for the package. Then run to Best Buy to pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 I actually pre-ordered. And then the next day, bring the Nintendo Switch 2 that Nintendo sent me for free to the children's hospital, and then, play Mario Kart with them. That would have worked, but I think the idea that our flight was at 6 in the morning on June 5th, meaning we would probably have to wake up at 4 a.m. after doing the midnight launch at Nintendo NY, that would have been kind of goofy, and I think I would have been genuinely exhausted and possibly borderline dead by the end of all of that. But I was willing to do it. I did not need to go to New York. I think Nintendo just shot me an invite, not thinking that much about it, just like that. Yeah, sure, let's invite him. Because the flight to New York was just an hour or so. It wasn't that bad. Nearest airport to me is Detroit, which is about an hour away. So, it's still some traveling. But, I use this more as an excuse to go to New York, because I wanted to go to New York again, especially with the guys, went with Eric and Sam and Dominic and Justin, and it was a lot of fun. We met up with a couple of other YouTubers, filmed some stuff for Scott Stash. Most of the videos we filmed for Scott Stash were drinking games, so we did a very similar thing going to Los Angeles. We did that back in like March of 2025, and we met up with some other YouTubers, hung out with them, and filmed some stuff with them, and it was a very cool time. And a lot of this is mostly surrounding excuses where I'm invited somewhere. I was invited to shoot something for Smosh-alike, and I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. I've never been to Los Angeles, and I thought, like, okay, well, could also film a bunch of stuff there, rent an Airbnb, set it up like we can film like the hangout videos on Scott Stash there, and you know what? It's a fun little setup. I'm excited to do more of that kind of stuff in the future. Just kind of take opportunities to travel to a cool place, set up shop, film some stuff. But, even filming stuff like on these work trips, it doesn't feel like work. It's just a fun time hanging out with the guys. But you know what really stunk is the fact that, remember how Nintendo said, oh, the Nintendo Switch 2 we're sending you will get delivered on June 5th? I got an email right before leaving for New York saying, oh, we're sending this system on June 4th. So that would have been kind of cool, I guess. The fact that I would have had the Switch 2 early. So I had the Switch 2 sent over to my communications manager, Jamie, so then he could sign for it. So at the end of the day, like, it all worked out, and I ended up redoing our flights back home so then we wouldn't be waking up at 4 in the morning to get on a 6 a.m. flight, because there would be not as much of a reason to try to get home as quickly and as early as possible. And overall, when it comes down to it, like, yeah, it would have been cool to be playing the Switch 2 a day early, but I was in New York with my best friends. Who gives a damn? But that brings us to the things that Nintendo was doing in New York that I was invited to. They were holding 2 events. One was the Block Party, which was kind of being held like outside of Nintendo NY. And that was something that everybody was invited to. And then there was a VIP event that was kind of happening like an hour or so before the launch at midnight, where I was able to go into the store on the top floor before the public was. And I was able to preview the system and mingle with Nintendo of America representatives and other influencers. The Block Party was cool. It was mostly just kind of like an outdoor demo for Mario Kart World's Knockout Tour, which we were able to try that out, but that was basically all it was. It was definitely cool to be a part of that whole thing, though. It did mostly just kind of come down to, I waited in line for like 30 minutes and played around a Knockout Tour, which was a lot of fun. That was my first time playing Mario Kart World. And I got 2nd place. Huzzah. But yeah, that was kind of all that was. That was cool. Got a free poster with that. Everybody did, so I think we're just going to have like a giant wall of like 6 Mario Kart World posters at our office. Met a lot of people that recognized me there, and that was really, really cool. It's always fun to talk to everybody and to, you know, just meet and take pictures, all that fun stuff. There was one guy that we remembered from Too Many Games. He always cosplayed as Peter Griffin. And I saw him, like, from the distance. I saw he was wearing, like, an old Hey All Scott Here shirt. So I gave him, like, a wave. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then when I got closer, I'm like, holy f***, it's you. Me and the guys always joked about the fact that this guy always was like was always there in like a really funny way. He always got like the most attention when we would do a panel. Somehow he was always the first one we called on, and we didn't even try to do that. He was like the first in line for certain things. There was like a moment at Too Many Games where they were like, hey, we're gonna be giving away part of like the cardboard cutout blue border that we had for like photo ops. And they just gave it out randomly. It went to fucking Peter Griffin. It got to the point where, like, I think our social media algorithms were, like, borked by it, too. Because, like, I think Dominic mentioned just, like, you see Peter Griffin's hanging up the coat. Like, this guy, his name is Nick. He made this, like, video where he was just like, I'm not going to be cosplaying as Peter Griffin as much at these conventions. And it was, like, this very somber video. He's just like, it's over, I guess. So then when we saw him there randomly, I was like, oh my god. It was just funny. He's always been such a nice guy to talk to, but it was just really funny how like usually at these conventions, like he was just always there, and he was always like very lucky enough to get like boom, 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 like all these things, and we always saw him around, and like we just thought it was funny. And then randomly when we're in New York, there he is again. But that was really funny, really cool to see him. And then this group, I think there's a very collective like Nintendo New York community, like fans that live around New York, and you know, it is kind of like a tradition for people to wait for the new system. You know, wait in line and be out there for a while. And we were talking with everybody, and this one guy, he was very, very nice, but it just makes me laugh because like the way he said, it's just like, I would like you to meet the guy that's been waiting for 2 months for the Nintendo Switch 2. It just sounded like he was like, I want you to meet the Godfather. I want you to meet our leader. But that was definitely fun. After that, me, Dominic, Justin, and Sam went to a Yankees game just because you know, when in Rome. It was like 15 bucks a ticket, which was like really damn good. So we just did that for like an hour, hour and a half or so. It was just kind of cool to do that, just kind of kill some time before my obligation to show up to Nintendo NY at like 10:45 p.m. So checked out the game. That was a lot of fun. Took the subway back to our Airbnb, and I freshened up because I felt stanky as fuck. This was like an 80-degree week in New York, and when you're walking like 10 miles a day all around the city, and we go back to our Airbnb, which, mind you, that might not be legal to have an Airbnb in Manhattan, but it was on Airbnb, so I took it. But the Airbnb didn't have any AC, so that sucked. But I freshened up, and then I took an Uber to Nintendo NY, and I couldn't really get in the doors. Those little Nintendo fans, man. I mean, I get it. I'm your little Wii U boy, but man, you put me in a crowd of Nintendo fans on top of they're all hopped up on something because it's the Switch 2 launch. I couldn't really move that much. I was able to get in, and I'm it's a very, very cool like situation to be in. It is always interesting to try to, like, if I have to go somewhere, it is usually hard and kind of like a big mob like that sometimes, but you know, I mean, like, it's still cool as hell. Like, I can't complain about it. It's more of just a funny situation to try to see, like, all right, how do I go about this? So I do want to say, like, if you ever catch me in like a moment where there's a bunch of Nintendo fans around me, you know, I might just have to kind of keep pushing forward. You know, it's not that I do want to like talk to everybody if I can, but it is something like if I have a place to go, I kind of have to like just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I gotta go. So I made it through the doors, and then I went upstairs on Nintendo NY, and I was hanging out there from like 11 to 12. And it was cool. You know, it wasn't necessary. Not at all. It was definitely very cool to see a lot of these Nintendo of America employees that, like, I've recognized throughout the years. And just shake their hands and everything. I recognized JC from Nintendo. I forgot his name for a bit. I told him, like, it's either JD or JC or something, but I recognized him, so I talked to him for a little bit. I was really awkward. I think I accidentally went for a handshake with him like 3 times, and I'm like, it was like one of those situations where I'm like, oh yeah, you're you, it's cool to meet you, and then like I think I'm ending the conversation after that, so I shake his hand again, and then somebody else kind of comes in and is saying something to him, and I'm just kind of standing there like, I'm like, should I just walk away? I'm not sure if I 100% closed the conversation yet. So then when I had another chance, I was just like, okay, it was great seeing you. That's a record, 3 handshakes. Ooh. I recognized Nate Bildorf. All I said to him was like, you're Nate Bildorf, right? And then he said, yeah. And I said, it's cool to meet you. And I shook his hand. That was it. Now, I did see Doug Bowser there. And I just kind of thought, like, I'm like, man, if I'm going to get anything out of this, I need to get a picture with Doug Bowser. So I did take a picture with him. I went up to him like a freaking shark, man. Like, he had somewhere to go. He had to go downstairs. Like, this was at the very last minute. He had to go downstairs to count down to midnight to the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. He had a place to go. So I went up to him really quick. I just told him, like, Mr. Bowser, can I take a selfie real quick? And then he was like, yeah, very quick. 3, 2, 1, go. And that's where that selfie came from. So if you look at that selfie and you went, Doug Bowser and Scott are friends? No. But I'm very thankful that he made time to take a quick picture with me, so that was funny. Overall, I didn't do a ton at the preview event. I talked to a couple of the other influencers that were there, and I was definitely kind of like I'd say a fish out of water there. Like, I felt like there wasn't really a ton of people that were in, like, my immediate, like, genre, I guess, of, like, content creator. I don't know. By that, I mean, I don't really think there was anybody else that were making hour-long retrospectives on fucking Mario 64 DS. So, yeah, like, I was kind of like an odd one out there, but it was still cool. It was still cool to meet all the people that I talked to and, you know, everybody was very nice. It was, you know, cool to, you know, spend that last hour of a Switch 2-less experience up there with everybody. There were preview stations for a lot of the major launch titles. On the big screen, there was Mario Kart World, and they had Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour there. I kind of wanted to try that out, but somebody was there. The Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition kiosk was open, so I went for that one. This was like my very first time previewing a game, even though previewing the game was a little kind of like, what am I doing here? Like, this game is launching in like 40 minutes or something. But yeah, I just kind of messed around in Breath of the Wild on Switch 2 for a bit. It was cool to see that game running at a, you know, stable 60 frames per second in 4K, all of that nonsense. You know, it was cool. And of course, I did get the opportunity to buy my Switch 2 at Nintendo NY. So my personal Switch 2 is technically one of the first bought at Nintendo NY. They made sure, they were like, okay, you're going to have the opportunity to buy a system here. We have to wait for the people that have been waiting for months to get the system, because they've been waiting for months, so they deserve the first ones. But after a little bit, then you can buy your system. So I bought a Nintendo Switch 2 at Nintendo NY. I got the Mario Kart World bundle, and I did see how there are two different types of Mario Kart World bundles. I've already seen people talk about this online, but yeah, the one that I got at Nintendo NY is the one with the full game download as the banner on the bottom, and it's printed on the box. Like, this box has always been meant to be a Mario Kart World bundle. And I was genuinely pretty confused by it when I got the system all set up and everything, because there was no download code or anything. The system just knows it's a Mario Kart World bundle, so when you log on to the eShop, it says, like, hey, you have a download available for Mario Kart World. But then the one I picked up from Best Buy had the circular Mario Kart World sticker on it, which just includes like a standard download code that you enter. So obviously what happened there was Nintendo took a bunch of regular ass Nintendo Switch 2 bundles and slapped a sticker on it and then included a download code, because I assume they realized that the Mario Kart World bundle was going to be a lot more popular, because why wouldn't it be? But I got this bundle, I got physical Mario Kart World, which actually makes sense, and I'll explain why. I also got a camera and a Switch 2 Pro controller. I know I definitely have a lot of extras, but again, I'm buying for multiple people at this point, because, you know, we have Switch 2 at the office and everything. Not yet, because the Amazon UK order got canceled, but still. But when I got the Switch 2 to the Airbnb, you know, I wanted to try it out for a little bit, and yeah, I guess the time zone stuff was a little weird, because Mario Kart World was not able to get downloaded. Like, I could connect to the eShop and everything, it was fine, but it was giving me like an error code with Mario Kart World saying this game hasn't released yet. So I cracked out the physical copy and I played it that way. I actually didn't play really much of it at all at midnight. You know, we actually went out with the YouTuber Get Mads. Just went out to a bar for a little bit, because, you know, we could. And, you know, but we had to cut it a little short. We had to wake up the next morning for our flight back and everything. But I played my Switch 2 in the airport, on the plane, and everything. That was my first time playing it, so that was pretty cool. Got home, I kept playing my Switch 2 in bed, but I was pretty damn exhausted. I passed out most of the day that I was back on June 5th, but you know, I did set up my Switch 2 down here in my game setup here, and I played a lot more Mario Kart World. But yeah, overall, the actual launch day of Switch 2, I was so damn tired. I played probably a good couple hours. I think I probably played like 3 hours, 4 hours overall, but yeah, I passed out most of that day. I was exhausted. But then the very next day, I had to wake up a little early to head on over to the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Toledo to give them this, which is the Switch 2 Nintendo gifted me. So it just came in a box. I did not get the digital download Mario Kart bundle. It was the regular Switch 2 with a copy, a physical copy of Mario Kart World. All right, listen, I know let's talk about these cases. So I do understand Nintendo wanting to differentiate the Switch 2 boxes from the Switch ones. I do like how we have a colorful spine. The spine is now kind of like, it can be whatever you want it to be. Nintendo's already doing whatever they want, with different fonts and everything. They aren't just upholding to the same, like, Switch 1 font on the spine, which, I like the Switch 1 game cases. I also don't really like them. I think it is cool how uniform they are, but it's also, like, I'm looking at my Switch 1 games right now. I don't know what any of those games are saying. Like, I don't know where any of the games are. They all look the same. So this, at the very least, I think, makes it a lot easier to see from a distance and be able to say, like, oh yeah, that's Mario Kart, that's Cyberpunk, all that stuff. The red case is cute. I do think it does kind of take away from the fact that, we do have inside cover art for these things too. The red game card is neat. However, there is just something a little funky about these game cases. Just a big ass border on the top. I think it would have been a little better if, like, the Switch 2 logo was, like, set up a little differently. I don't know. I don't like this logo. I don't like it that it's just the Switch logo with a 2 next to the Joy-Con logo up there. I don't like it. But the spine is fine. It's better than it seemed like it was gonna be, just looking at images of them online when they were first revealed. But, yeah, Nintendo gave me all of this, and it came with these 2 little pieces of paper that were kind of giving you a little, like, marketing information about everything going on. I like these. It's just kind of a cool little, like, just information dump about everything with, like, Mario Kart World. And then this one is just, like, a checklist of, like, all these different things with the Switch 2 around launch time. They have, like, all the Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. They have the microSD Express card, which... Man, I just might wait until, like, a 1 or 2 terabyte micro SD Express card is available. I really don't want to buy, like, a 256 gigabyte one, and then, Then I'm going to just buy another, and then another, and then another. I might just wait a little bit, but who knows? That might be a while until something like that is readily available. But my Switch 1, like, when I was able to get a 1 terabyte micro SD card, like, I got that, and I never looked back. But yeah, they're showing off a couple of the different games available. Not all of them. I don't think they're showing any of the M-rated games. I don't see Cyberpunk or anything like that, but they have Bravely Default and Street Fighter 6. They have Welcome Tour. Welcome Tour is another one of the Switch 2 games that I have played. I mean, like, there's some cute things with it, but, like, my lord, man. It should have been a pack-in. That's just the easiest way to put it. It's not bad, but it should have been a pack-in. Most of what I've done with the Switch 2 since launch has been Mario Kart World, and I love this game. I think it's awesome. Is it perfect? No, but I think you kind of have to do something different with Mario Kart, because, like, I'm looking at Mario Kart World, and people still look at it like, oh, it's just more Mario Kart. So, like, if they think that with Mario Kart World, what the hell would they have thought if it was just a typical-ass Mario Kart 9? It was just like Mario Kart 8, but better graphics and new courses. Like, that's all it would have been. I think they made a great move with Mario Kart World, and I'm excited to see what they do next with it. I can't wait to see updates, DLC, all of that. I think the game is great. It does have some problems. I would love to talk more about that in, like, a full-blown, like, what are my thoughts on Nintendo Switch 2, or I might do thoughts on Mario Kart World as its own separate little think piece as well. But overall, I'm having a great time with it. And you know what? Just the Switch 2 in general, how it feels, I love the feel of this system. There's not really a ton that I'm having, like, issues with. I think it looks and feels very sleek. I think it just, like, just being bigger just feels so much better with this system. It does feel premium, yet not too, like, oh, premium that you can't just, like, casually use it or whatnot. You know how it feels like if you have this super expensive piece of tech, you're almost like, oh, I gotta be careful with this. Like, I feel like that with the Switch 2, but, probably in, like, a couple of weeks, I'm gonna be rattling that thing around my bag. Who gives a damn? But I think one of the biggest shockers for me is the Pro Controller. This controller did not seem very interesting. It just seemed very much like, oh, it's just a Switch 2 branded Switch 1 Pro controller. No, like, this thing feels a million times better. It feels so much different. The sticks are incredible. Like, it genuinely feels like something like I loved the Switch 1 Pro controller and didn't really think that needed refined or anything. No, this one is a million times better. This might be one of the best controllers out there. Got the Switch 2 camera just because I thought it would be kind of funny. I have not used anything with the camera so far. I've not played online multiplayer with friends, or I've not done game chat or anything. I've messed around with some of the GameCube games. You know, that's really cool. It's cool to have GameCube games on Switch 2. That's kind of the long and short of it. I did purchase the Switch 2 GameCube controller from the My Nintendo store, so that should be coming at some point soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm just happy they're there, and I think that's my overall thoughts on the Switch 2 as a whole. I'm just happy about a lot of this stuff. It's not necessarily the most like exciting thing in the world because it is very iterative on what we've already had with the Switch 1. But that's what I wanted. Like, would it have been cool if Nintendo just came out with this crazy new idea? Sure. But even then, a lot of the stuff they're doing with the Switch 2 is really slick. Even just using the Joy-Con as mice, there's something oddly magical feeling about that. I just did that in bed one day. I was just holding the Switch 2. I'm just gonna detach the Joy-Con and I'm just gonna like use it on like the bed sheet. I'm gonna use it on my knee. And it works like really well. Obviously, it would work better if like, you know, you were sitting like at an actual table or whatever, but it works really well, and it just kind of opens up a lot of possibilities. Like, yeah, computer mice have been around for centuries, but this feels like you're actually able to do something kind of new and innovative with it. And I think that's really neat. I am extraordinarily happy with the Switch 2. I'm not like blown away or anything, but it feels very much like what I wanted from a Nintendo console in 2025. I love the Switch form factor, and this just feels like they're taking it and just running with it, with a console that is more than powerful enough to handle a lot of the stuff you're going to throw at it. In the coming weeks, I definitely want to try out more of the multi-platform games. I do have Cyberpunk, but I have not tried it out yet on Switch 2. And, you know, I'm down to try out the other games like Street Fighter 6, Hitman. I will definitely say the whole game keycard thing is definitely kind of a buzzkill. Like, I like my physical games, and I do find that a game being released physically does kind of make it feel a lot more substantial. Like, oh, this is a big release. And when a game is a game keycard, it's just so deflating, where I'm just kind of like, this just feels like a waste. And I know I've said previously how, okay, you know, this is better than code in the box kind of things. But they're still doing that stuff with the Switch 2. Split Fiction is a code in the box. I'm like, what are we doing here? And I remember saying in my initial like thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct video on Scott's Dash, I said like, oh, it makes sense for something like Street Fighter 6 to be a game key card, but it doesn't make sense for Bravely Default to be one. But now that we know that there's only one game card size for publishers to buy, which is a 64 gigabyte cartridge, which is a little too expensive to kind of like make the most money you can off of your physical games. Now it makes sense that Bravely Default's like, no, we're not going to buy a 64 gigabyte game card for our $40 retail game. Street Fighter 6, now I'm kind of going like, what's your excuse? That's like a 60 gigabyte game. You had all the reason to buy a 64 gigabyte game card. I think my hope is that this is kind of just like a launch year thing for Nintendo. Like, okay, we're going to start with just offering one game card size, and then, you know, as time goes on, when manufacturing ramps up a little bit, maybe gets a little cheaper, maybe we'll offer smaller game card sizes. I hope that's the case, because Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S being a game key card is just stinky to me. But that's honestly like one of my only major issues with the Switch 2 as it is, and I am hopeful that that kind of like ends up working itself out in the end. I don't see a ton of people going that crazy for the game key cards, but we'll see how the general audience goes. I'm not live or die like, oh, everything I buy needs to be physical, but you know, I probably would have bought a lot of the physical games at launch if they were actual physical games. I might just wait until it makes sense where I'm in the mood to play some of these games, because right now it's pretty much all about Mario Kart World for me. But in a couple weeks, I might be like, you know what? I really enjoyed playing Street Fighter 6 on PS5. I think it'll be kind of cool to try that out on Switch too. And at that point, I'm just gonna buy it digitally. But yeah, I'd love to talk more about this in the future. I kind of want to get a little more experience with it outside of just playing Mario Kart and a little bit of Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour and the GameCube games. So yeah, I'll probably do that at some other point. But for now, to end things off, like I said, this is the Switch 2 that Nintendo sent me, or at the very least, it's the box. Because this Switch 2 is currently residing at the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Toledo, Ohio. We went there to donate that for their play area, and that was a very, very, very cool experience. I'm very keen on doing more stuff like that in the future because the kids were really excited, and it was really, really cool to be able to play Mario Kart with them and talk to them all and just have a good time and just be able to bring a, a brand new game system at launch to them, so then they could play the latest and greatest kind of fun stuff. So that was really cool. I would love to do more stuff like that in the future, but it was really cool to be able to start doing that stuff with the local hospitals. Oh, by the way, yeah, I still need to buy another Switch 2 because I never got one for the office. The one I got at Best Buy, I ended up giving to Sam, and then the one at the office was going to be the Amazon UK one, and that got canceled. So I was like, well, we will wait and see when they get restocked in stores, and then I will buy another one. But I'm very happy that this one went to the kids. So thank you, Nintendo, for sending me a Nintendo Switch 2. I didn't want it, so here's where it went. All right, everybody. Nintendo gave me this. I don't need it. Let's play some let's play Mario Kart. All right, I think if we put it right here, that'll be good. How does that feel?
And then I can just talk into this.
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Where am I at?
I think, yeah, you're in the top right there. You're the blue guy. Somebody yell stop when there's something cool.
Stop.
Cheap Cheap Falls. All right, let's hope you picked right. Just hold that button to go, and then you're going.
Got some last already, that's good.
Yeah, that's usually how it's supposed to go. This is rough.
What is last place?
20, it's what I'm, it's me,
yeah.
Owen.
Have you played Mario Kart before?
Yeah.
I say you're doing great.
Oh yeah, you see the top buttons here?
Nice place, nice.
Bam! Oh my god, Owen, what a big Goomba turned into a big old Goomba. Whoa, first place?
Alright, yeah.
Have you played this game before?
Yeah.
Sam, you want to give this one a try? And then we'll start passing this other controller off to you guys. Yeah. That's not pink to me, man.
There's
I'm
pink.
colorblind.
Yeah, it's pink in the right
Yeah.
there.
That's
On the stadium
embarrassing.
Right here.
Yeah, don't rub it in my face. Sam, you're player one?
That's me.
Alright, who's player two?
I'm Nabbit.
Michael, you're Mario?
Yeah.
I'm coming.
No. No, you're not.
I mean business.
That's all you're gonna tell me? You just told me to watch out.
All I'm gonna say is watch out.
No, I don't.
Alright, guys, start hitting the gas. Now! Go! Alright, I'm so sorry. I messed up the time.
I'm driving.
I gave the wrong timing.
That's close, I think.
Last time I played was 2 years ago.
Might be a little rusty. I think you're doing pretty good for somebody who's played 2 years ago. Alright, interesting. You can always tell what your vibe is from the characters you're picking.
I think that one looks fun.
We gotta see how the red Joy-Con does here.
Yeah,
Our
I
eyes
mean, the
are on
pressure's
you.
on, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it is the controller, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
They want to see the red Joy-Con again.
Guys, don't conform to society here. He's always winning.
Are you kidding me? That was
He's 2 for 2.
Lower left.
I turned it to a gun. I want me second.
Come back.
I'm seeing that finish line.
Is it red again?
It's getting sweaty.
Oh my
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Come on.
You want to be able to move your controller to move?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I got that all turned on for you, buddy. Oh man, we got 2 coin coffers?
Just do that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wait, you got the cheater.
You're good. Oh my god. Oh my
It's
gosh.
kind of funny.
Dude, I told you, you ran up the ranks there. Let's do one more race with us all, and then this is all your guys's. Like, you guys get to keep this. You thinking you can do this? Go for it.
Hey,
What's
this stay
what's the
here?
controller?
Yeah, the Switch
I bet
2
it's
stays here. It's always gonna be here.
Wait, what are you thinking?
Are you asking what I'm thinking, Owen?
Yes.
What am I thinking right now in general?
Yeah, you're thinking we can all play it.
Yeah, you can all play it. When I leave this building, I'm not taking this with me.
We're not taking anything.
It's yours. You do whatever you want with it.
It all stays.
Yay.
You got to make videos.
This one's a fun one. They got like electronic music in the background, like everybody's fist pumping. Yeah.
The coin
Who
coffer.
picked 2 coin coffers, by the way?
It was new
Not me.
Let's talk about
It's
that.
3
Yeah,
coin coffers.
I'm so excited.
There's one shy guy
He's
and
cool.
2 coin coffers.
No,
He's cool,
3.
I swear, he's
Oh, wait.
cool.
Now when I go on YouTube, I can probably find this video.
At some point, you know what? When this video gets posted, we'll send it to our contact here, and then we'll make sure that he shows it to all of you.
How long do you think it'll be before it's posted?
Oh, man. That's up to me.
Ish, relatively.
That's up to me. That's down to how lazy I am this weekend.
No being lazy.